Remember, safety first. Before working on any dryer, you disconnect the plug, electricity first. So just overall, how do you disassemble this type of dryer? You pull this out, there's one screw, you remove it, then you slide out this control panel. Then there are three screws here, you remove those. That allows you to push back the top part and remove it. Once you remove the part, you can disconnect the cable that goes from the panel to the main body. You remove that. Once that's done, you can basically put this control panel on the side. Then there are, I believe, three screws here that you have to remove them. So you remove them, and then you end up with this aluminum panel behind this that needs to be also slide up. Once that's done, then the front panel screws are exposed. So there are 4 screws, 1, 2, 3, 4, and you remove those. Don't forget to disconnect these 2 cables easily. And then there is a little black plastic that connects holds the tie to this metal aluminum. You can just press it and push it down, and that way the front of your washer is exposed and you can do anything. Last step or first step is to just put this back. Nice and easy. You're gonna have to align it, but what you have here. Perfect. Job is done. Okay, there's the screws here that needs to be removed before removing this control panel. So when you remove this screw, you just slide it up. Okay? And when you're trying to put it back together, you slide it down nice and gently. You align the holes with the pins on the bottom and the sockets on the top, and then you will fit it in. Okay. Now we are about to remove the top. It's pretty easy. You have 3 screws on the top. You see that? That it is connecting the top of your dryer to this metal panel. You remove them, and once you remove them, you can hold up the front of the top panel and push it back. So simply pull up this a little bit and push it back. So there's only 2 metal pieces that needs to fit in the 2 holes on the back of the panel. So keep that in mind when you're putting it back together. But removing this is not a problem. And once you do that, you can disconnect the socket that's connecting the front panel to the actual dryer. You might wonder, what is the purpose of these flat screws? Or weird looking shape one. These, if you see your control panel, there are 1, 2, 3, and 4 holes. So the way this needs to sit in, so it goes and sits basically inside these holes. So the way you have to put this back is you hold it up and then you align it and then you slide it down. Slide up to remove, slide down to put it back. Next step, you need to disconnect these 2 sockets that are connecting the wires that coming from the main body to the front panel, and it's pretty easy to disconnect this one. You just pull this plastic toward yourself slowly, don't break it, and then disconnect the sockets. Never pull the wires, hold on to the plastic and then do that. So basically with one hand you pull this up, you pull this up, and with the other hand you pull out the other side. Same thing here. There's a little plastic here that you can pull toward yourself, but don't put too much pressure, and then they can easily get disconnected. to give you a better idea on how this mechanism works, this is the click mechanism, which is holding it together, and this is this side. So you see how this little piece is keep them connected. And then what you should do, you use a plier to gently press this little plastic button and push it in. Press it and push it in, so that what happens is this will disconnect the plastic tie that is currently connected to this panel. So it's pretty easy. So you press it and you push it in. Press it and push it in. The next step is to remove this metal or aluminum front panel. It's pretty easy. There are 2 screws on the top, 1 standing screws here on the left, 2 screws on the right, and 1 standing screws on the left. So you have 5 tongues on each side of this panel. 3 in front, pay attention to the position of them, which sits in front of your white panel, and then two in the back, which is behind this white panel. I hope you guys can see it. Okay, this is the last step to remove the panel. For that, once you make sure that these wires are disconnected, there are 4 screws. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So you remove these screws and then you kind of pull this out. So pay attention. There is see this metal piece? When you put this back together, make sure this metal piece align with this hole, clicks in this hole, and there's another metal piece in this side, which has to click in this hole. And also you have this metal ring that basically covers the plastic ring that you have here. So the plastic ring needs to sit inside this metal ring, and it's completely sealed here. This is so basically you have this metal ring that needs to be covering this plastic ring that goes inside of it. So when you remove this panel, there's a plastic ring that then, when you put it back, sits inside this metal ring. Okay? Okay, this is the front panel that is already removed. And what holds this in place are 4 screws. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then these 2 that can go in.